This video took me ages to make. I am somebody who cannot shut up, and so the video was getting longer and longer, and I was getting increasingly bored and feared the same would happen to the audience. And yet, I have always wanted to do awards. What a pickle to be in. So, after many attempts, I managed to get it done. So let's look at the 10 cars I was able to review in the past 12 months. The BMW M5 Touring was the only sort of classic car I have reviewed all year, and it remains one of the best. One thing that wasn't trumped all year is its hydraulically assisted power steering, and yes, it makes a difference. Electrically assisted racks just aren't as good. The end. The other two things are more obvious: its engine and the noise that it produces. 5 liters and 10 cylinders of naturally aspirated epicness. Great induction noise, tastefully tuned exhaust, all exquisitely arranged. Just listen. And now the polar opposite. 107 horsepower per liter, dual clutch gearbox and a sport mode, and yet nothing like the BMW M5. It isn't a sports car, it isn't even a sporty car, it is a family car, and a rather good one at that. And it puts up with me when I pretend it isn't. After the E60 M5 and E90 M3, I had fallen out of love with M cars. I just couldn't deal with the fact my beloved, naturally aspirated, high-revving engines had been consigned to the history books. We didn't even get a Halo model with an interesting engine. It's Bayerische Motorenwerke, for heaven's sake. But then they made the M2. A car that obviously came with a turbocharged engine, but its diminutive size and butch looks, seasoned with the usual M hooniness, made up for it, especially in competition spec when it finally got proper M seats and wing mirrors. The first review of a borrowed car. Of course, I knew that Civic Type Rs had always been serious hatchbacks, but to what extent I just became aware after driving this one. Yes, I seem to be one of the few people who like the looks, but it's even tastier what's beneath. Brilliant chassis with lots of grip and a rear end to place along, a crisp gear shift and tactile steering. In fact, the best electrically assisted steering I have experienced so far. My first press car. I was a bit nervous, but I needn't have been because the Formentor has a lot going on for itself. Good looks, decent interior, better than what the mothership has to offer, powerful engine and decent handling. It could not hide its crossover body, but then maybe it doesn't need to because its success speaks for itself. Good car, and I can't wait to drive the 5-cylinder one. This was a difficult one. Everybody loves the GR Yaris and I felt like I should too, but I didn't. Let's talk about the good parts though. It's got a bear of an engine, a manual gearbox and driven rear wheels. Yummy. Except the part with the driven rear wheels is a bit difficult to exploit. The chassis setup is rather soft, but it's running on super sticky tires and those two things seem to be at odds with each other. I love the fact it exists, it is hugely capable and it's a great drive, and the fact Toyota came around to make it should be celebrated. But I ended up preferring the Civic Type R. Uh-oh, the first electric car. Would I be able to get it going? I was sure I would embarrass myself because it must have been as hilarious to watch as an actual dinosaur trying to drive a car. Not at all. The e-Niro always felt like a regular car that just happened to be electric, and that is a compliment. I grew quite fond of it because it never tried to be something it wasn't. Nice interior, efficient drivetrain, manageable size. I really enjoyed the week with the little Kia, which turned out to be a problem for... The ID3. I didn't really click with VW's first member of the ID family. Even though it has got funky looks, it has got a new sort of interior and the drive is more fun than the Kias without being sporty. But the interior was a noticeable step back, especially when you think about the price. After 2 EVs, I needed to get back in touch with my petrol side, at least in part. It was time for my first hybrid, and my first philosophical conundrum. While I didn't particularly like the single ingredients, I quite liked the finished result, and while it didn't work as a performance car, I'm sort of drawn to the hybrid as a solution for the battery-obsessed world, and this one comes in a pretty package. And number 10 was hands down the most fun. The Mazda MX-5 is quite probably the embodiment of all this channel stands for. Unfortunately, it is only available in the wrong body. Haha. Light and balanced rear-wheel drive chassis, adequately powerful naturally aspirated engine, low seating position, great seats and a crisp gear shift. While every other car maker can only pick a few of the ingredients of the Driving Dynamics handbook, it's like Mazda's engineers thought, let's do all of them. Except for the power steering. Come on, Mazda. Oh, and please give me a coupe. This wouldn't really be an award show if I didn't at least try to put everything in order. So let's start with the chassis. That was it. Thanks for watching, and now I'd like to hear from you. What do you think about my choices? What do you think about the award categories? Did I forget something? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much, and until next year. Bye.